When we're talking about class dependencies, we want to be honest. That means that our class constructor should require any dependencies that that class actually needs. Classes whose constructors make this very clear have what I would call explicit dependencies. However, classes that do not make this clear have implicit or hidden dependencies. They're lying to you. When they say that you can just new them up without passing them anything, but then they don't work if the database isn't there, that's telling you something that is false. It's telling you that this class would work, but then it's not letting you know about the fact that, oh, by the way, I actually need a database in order to do anything. So for example, here's a class called Hello World Hidden that has a hidden dependency on the system clock. And so it'll work a certain way in the morning, and another way in the afternoon, and another way in the evening, but there's no way for you to alter that dependency. In this case, it's violating the open-closed principle in that if you wanted to change the logic for the dates or the times of day when it does its thing, or if you wanted to be able to test it in some way that lets you run all three paths through the method without having to run your tests at different times of day, you would have a hard time doing so. So your classes should instead declare what it is that they need. For instance, with the Hello World example, we need a date time in order for us to determine which greeting to pass back. We could pass in a date time through the constructor, or if we wanted to and it was only being used for one method, we could pass it into the method itself. If we don't want to pass in a particular value object like a date time, we could pass in an interface that knows how to return date times, such as an iCalendar that perhaps implements the now method. And then we could write an implementation of the iCalendar interface that used the system.datetime.now implementation by default. But then when we were writing our tests, we could use whatever implementation of that we wanted. And we could have an afternoon iCalendar that always returned 2 p.m., for example. And we could use that in our tests to verify that we received good afternoon whenever we passed in the afternoon calendar implementation.